Welcome, my brothers and sisters, to another message from South Valley Neighborhood Church. I had given a message 2 weeks ago on the Antichrist, and I wanted to go into that a little bit more, but if I was going to give this lesson a title, I guess the best way to title this lesson would be the decision or the choice. And my lesson will be basically trying to at least put some meaning into Revelation chapter 13, which discusses the beast. And if you look at the first 8 verses of Revelation 13, it talks about a beast that rises out of the sea. And John is watching this beast as it rises out of the sea. And it has 7 heads and 10 horns and 10 crowns, and the name of blasphemy written on it. And there isn't much doubt by any of the biblical scholars that Daniel had discussed the same vision, and Daniel had said that these are 10 countries united in a way to form one global power. And this global power, with the 10 countries all being allies to each other and cooperating with each other, became the global power. And it was a political power and a military power. And it was not possible. People even asked, how can anybody make war with this? And people began to appreciate it. And it was definitely not a power for earth for good. It was a power for evil. But God had limited the amount of time that this first beast had before it was removed. And at from Revelation 13:8, it says, "And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him," or this global power with the emperor or whoever is. Satan has backed this power up for sure, but they will worship the leader of this global 10-nation power. So as I continue on, "And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world." So if you are written in that book of life, you're not going to worship this beast. In Revelation 13:9, it says, "If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So you say, well, why would leading into captivity and things like this? I want to make sure that everybody understands that Satan, even in 2 Corinthians 4:4, he is the God with a small g of this world. And when it comes to man's affairs and man's way of collecting power and trying to manipulate things and events and minds here on earth, Satan is certainly doing an awesome job. But if anyone is written in that book of life, he will not submit and yield and worship the beast. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And you say, well, who's going to be leading people into captivity? And so what if they wind up in captivity themselves, or those that kill in the name of their government wind up being killed, or this global power, this beast, right? But you have to remember, these are not new concepts. Maybe the beast had refined it with this 10-nation structure. He had refined it even better. But this is not something new. Mankind has been doing this. Whole nations have been taken captive. All the goods out of the nation taken. Whatever people were there would be turned into slaves if they had any useful skills. Many were just killed. And this, Hitler took the Jews captive, the ones that had some kind of a talent that could make some money for the Third Reich were allowed to live. Others were killed so they could get the gold out of their teeth and whatnot. There is no, and you say, yeah, but that was just Hitler. No, that was everybody working for the Third Reich. And for some reason, that's the way man is. He's willing to go ahead and follow the leader. And somehow you say, well, wouldn't his conscience bother him? I mean, even in some countries, people are held as slaves. And if they can produce, then they're allowed to live. Not in any glorious fashion, by the way, enough to, they'll be fed enough to keep them able to work and put in a little tiny cot, and they have no enjoyment. It's just, I want to live, so I'll work and sleep and work and sleep and eat my little bowl of rice or whatever, right? And, if they can't work, maybe we can sell their body parts. This is the type of goodwill man has to other men, right? And you say, yeah, but I would never do that. You'd be surprised how many people probably said that they would never do something like that and then wake up a decade later saying, yeah, I was doing that. I was putting them in the railroad cars and hauling them off to the camps to be killed or whatever, right? So the thing is, there is no limit to Satan's evil and how he can manipulate man into sheer horrific evil. But it does make a little point here. If anybody's got an ear, let him hear this, it says. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And he that killeth, in the Bible it says with the sword, that was the ancient military weapon. We have much better ones now. There are people that manipulate viruses to figure out a way to make them deadly, and this is not a new thing, in case anyone thinks I'm talking about new things. They were trying that back in World War II, trying to figure out ways to spread a disease to the enemies, infecting people and then letting them get close to death where they're very full of whatever pathogen, bacteria, or virus it was, and then trying to bottle it up and contaminate other countries. But the faith of the saints, here is the patience and the faith of the saints. They don't want to get involved in this. I guess it's some kind of a patriotism that happens where whatever your country is doing, because it's God and country, we feel that it's our duty to God to support this country. And it's funny because you say, well, how far along should you support the country? Well, we're one nation under God. Well, I don't know. Maybe it started out that way, and maybe a lot of countries start out that way. But once you see that the country has taken a different direction, if you knew what was happening to your tax dollars and what your tax dollars that you're forced to pay is being used for, we are one of the biggest exporters of the new education. I don't know how much money we've sent to South America, but it's in the millions and millions that we have sent to South America to set up their schools for the purpose of the new, I don't know what the term would be, gender non-binary, reassignment, whatever. In fact, I think Colombia was one of the countries that they received the most money to set this type of educational system up, and we're paying tax dollars to have that done in our own schools. So what I'm saying is that don't think that, well, not me. I don't, mine. No, you'd be surprised what humans are willing to follow. And especially if it's something that they can say, for some reason, it makes them feel virtuous, that they are different and they don't go down the normal road because they're different, and the attention you get for being different, or pretending to be different, or whatever you've got to do to be liked. Everybody wants to be liked. Sometimes we can say, well, yeah, but if we organize to straighten out our country, this is what we need to do. We need to organize, we need to get political, we need to get into some way of turning things around back to a nation that's under God, where Christ will be taught, and our Christian faith will be taught back in the schools and things like that. Well, that's, I guess, one way to look at it, or maybe look at it from, I really don't care for the schools. But schools are so tempting to people because, you know what, it's kind of like a babysitter, a free babysitter for all day. But it's not free, believe me. You pay taxes, and what they're teaching your kids, if you were sitting there, you probably would not approve of. But you can go ahead and say, well, I'm going to work very hard to bring this country back and bring it back under a country, one nation under God. Well, go ahead. But I think if you really study the Bible and what the Bible has to say, our job is to go one soul at a time and try to convince and win them over to a saving knowledge of Christ. Not to try to become, I've got relatives that spend their time hosting at their house barbecues and whatnot for different political people that they think may have a chance to do this and that, and whatever it is that they think, and this becomes their main way of saying, I'm serving the Lord by trying to get the right people in office. And I pretty much my faith in mankind is not that great, not even in myself. And I think my time would be better spent trying to see if I can win a soul. You've got agencies, like the NIH that, to me, in putting money into this research of gain of function on viruses and things like that. It's funny because a lot of the things that people do, and it goes so south, but mankind will just kind of flow into these stages down, where I don't really approve of much of what our it's not a political wing, it's government employees wind up investing their energy on, and are told to invest their energy on. It becomes a very sad thing. Some of the things that the CIA has been involved in, or these other agencies, three-letter agencies that just horrific things. So I'm going to spend my time, or try to spend my time, saving souls. Now, if we continue on down, it says the first beast has had his time, but he left a big impression, and he's not done by any means. But a second beast appears. This one doesn't come out of the sea, but in Revelation 13:11, it says, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth this time. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake like a dragon. And you say, well, that means that he was very gentle, only he talked really mean, because that's the way dragons talk. No, actually, dragons talk very nicely and tell you exactly the things that they think will tickle your ear. And so the idea of this two-horned beast actually kind of fine-tuned what the first beast didn't have, because it was strictly a political military machine. But this beast has a special weapon with the two horns, or a binary type of movement here, because it mixed both the political and governmental and added religion. I'm not saying Judeo-Christianity, though, but it added a ecclesiastic, religious type of dimension to it. And the second beast, he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed at the end of the 42 months, which the time may not mean 3.5 years. It may mean a different thing. There's been a lot of speculation. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. So the beast, who basically is Satan, whatever puppet he's indwelt, it says, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image, so that this image was able to speak and communicate. Should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And now that starts to get scary. And the word worship, by the way, means to get next to, grovel, kiss the feet of, lick the hand of. It's basically a term that comes from like a dog comes up and wants to lick your hand and lean up against you and be friendly. But it's to grovel at the image of the beast. And if you didn't, you would be killed. Which you say, well, no, that's not me. I'm not going to grovel at no image of no beast. Well, okay, well, let's hope so. But, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Well, you say, okay, that's fine. I won't buy or sell. Well, there's two ways not to buy or sell. One is that you're not allowed to go buy or sell. Or the other way is you don't have any money to go buy or sell. So you say, well, yeah, but I mean, like that must be far off in the future. No, actually, it's starting to happen now. And many people are supporting it. And we live in this world called a world of cancel culture. And you have social scores, and you make one mistake that upsets those who are of the beast and support the beast, and you are canceled. You lose your job. You have no friends now. And you are booted out. You're booted out of school, booted out of your job, and so whatever your business was goes under. And but it can even get more technical because we won't be working with money or allowed to have money. I guess we'll be working with a fake cloud currency that can be flipped on and off at a switch in some governmental building. That means you just don't have anything to work with as far as buying or selling, especially if you tangle with this beast. And you see that it becomes easier and easier to say, well, yeah, but that's not going to be me. I'm not going to bend my knee to that. I'm not going to gravel on the floor to that. Let's hope not. It's a choice. It's a decision. But I wanted to warn everybody that it's coming. And you can see the signs all around. And we need to really get close to God. And you say, you know, if you take this mark or take this image, you're done. God's done with you. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of the beast, number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. There's a lot of theories going on about that. I don't know. I simply don't know. Some people say the mark is this, some people say the mark is that. I don't know. But I know this. If you take that mark, you are not written in the book of life. Well, does that mean you can lose your salvation? If you take that mark, you never were saved. I don't believe you can lose your salvation. That's why I don't believe anyone that's truly saved will take that mark. Some food for thought. I know you say, Ed, well, this is one heck of a Christmas message. Well, I want everybody to have a good Christmas. And I'm hoping that God gives us time, God gives us strength, God gives us courage. Think about your children. Enjoy them. Teach them. Father and God, thank you for your words and your Bible and giving us this book with your wisdom, Lord. Forgive us where we fail you and give us strength. For it's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.